Hey everybody, welcome back to Weight Loss Made Simple. I am your host, Dr. Stacy Heinberger. I want to talk about something that comes up a lot, and it's this idea of willpower, right? So there's lots of people, they call me, maybe they want to start the weight loss medications, the GLP-1s, maybe they just want to get into coaching, and there is this myth that willpower is the cornerstone, that if we don't have willpower, we are not going to lose weight. Um, if you've ever found yourself thinking, I just need more willpower, then this is the episode for you, because I want to really explain why willpower is not only not the magic bullet, but I think in some ways is almost a guarantee that you're not going to be successful. Willpower is seen as the ultimate goal, and we're told, like, just white knuckle through, stay disciplined. That's how you get results. But willpower is a finite resource, and it can really lead to burnout and failure because willpower does not last. Sustainable weight loss comes when we figure out why we think we need willpower. Okay. So if I'm doing something during the day and I'm super stressed out and I am craving or have an urge to eat something sugary or comforting, and I'm thinking, oh, my willpower is waning. Yes, it's true. Willpower wanes because it's a finite resource, but the more important thing to figure out is why I'm feeling that urge, why I'm feeling that desire, the over desire for something sweet or comforting. And that's the key to sustainable weight loss. It's figuring out, why do I need this? Why is my brain calling for this food? Why is my brain calling out for sugar? So we get in these habit loops where there's a cue and a routine. Okay, so we have an urge reward. We call it an urge reward loop. When we understand and we can identify and we can start to feel these come on, those should be a big blinking light of opportunity. Okay, that is where we find the opportunity to figure out what is going on for me. Why am I having this urge? Why am I having this over desire? So, if we can figure out what's triggering that urge, then we can start to do the real work. So, how do GLP-1s work with this? Well, the GLP-1 is not going to stop the trigger. It's not going to stop the urge, and it's not going to stop our reward. What it does is that it interrupts the cycle at the urge. It just makes it less intense. Okay, so if we're still getting stressed out with Susie at work and coming home and wanting a drink at night, this medicine is not going to fix that. The medicine is just going to make it easier to say, well, I just don't want the drink that much. Okay, our brain is still triggered. Our brain is still going to throw up the urge or the desire, but it's dampened. It's not as strong. So that is where these medicines can be super helpful if you're willing to do the work behind it. Meaning, Susie has made me mad at work, right? Which nobody makes us mad, but we'll go back to that, right? So I've had some trigger. I've been triggered. I have an urge. I've trained myself to reward it. If it is dampening that urge response and I am aware and I want to do the work, when it comes up and it's easier for me to not reward it, right? Because it's just not as strong. That's where I can say, well, what's going on for me? What is happening? Why am I triggered? What can I do differently? How can I get ahead of that? How can I be preemptive in my plan here? How can I stop the trigger? Or how can I recognize it and alter my response to it so that it's not trigger, urge, reward? Okay. So these medications, when they've all been studied, they talk about lifestyle changes. And these are the lifestyle changes, right? But nobody's teaching you how to do that except me. I'm teaching you. So pay attention and then send this to all of your friends on a GLP-1. This is where we need to just become aware of the mindset shifts that need to happen to be ultimately successful. If we are not aware, we don't understand this is happening, we are still going to reward the urge and we do not need the food. Our stomach is not moving as fast. And this is where we're going to start having some significant GI side effects. Or this is going to be where we feel like the medicine's not working. The medicine is working, but we haven't been doing the background work. So if we are still giving in to the urge reward loop without doing the work, yes, the medicines are not going to work. They are not magic. I mean, they are kind of, because it's the first thing we've found to kind of dull that dopamine response. So they're magic in that way. They're magic in the way that it gives us an opportunity to really analyze our trigger in a much more level-headed way. When you're not on the medicine and we are trigger urge reward and we've been rewarding it for so long, the urge is very strong and very demanding and very difficult to say no to. So we are always saying, oh, my willpower, I lost it. My willpower gave up. But what it really is that we're kind of just so used to giving into that reward that our brain doesn't know how to say no, right? I've heard people say, it's like I'm acting against my own will. Like I don't want to be eating it, but I just have to. Like it feels so strong. And that's what it is. It's this urge reward loop and this dopamine and this like sugar and food addiction. It feels very, very powerful, and in turn can make us feel powerless around food. So if you've ever thought, I feel powerless around food, I want you to really hear what I'm saying and think, maybe this is the reason. Maybe it's this urge reward loop that we have set up. So long-term change on how we lose weight and how we interact with food needs to happen here. Needs to happen with this urge reward loop, because I teach lots of things, right? And I teach planning and I love planning, and there's good brain reasons why I teach that. But this can undo all of that, right? We can be doing all the right things and then we're triggered and we don't have another way to respond to that. We haven't learned a new way to respond to that. We haven't learned to look at that as an opportunity, or we just don't have the space to even recognize that it's happening. Okay. And so I don't know if that's ever happened where I kind of call it rage eating, right? Like I'm triggered. I'm so angry. I'm eating before I even know what happened. I don't have any space between the trigger, the urge, and the reward to do any work. So recognizing that this is the pattern can let us start to pull some space. So maybe there's some space between the trigger and the urge. Maybe we can find some space between the urge and the reward. And we can do good work in both of those places. So what I want you to think about is, where in that cycle are you saying willpower is not working for you? I have a feeling it's in the urge reward section. And so when that happens and we're having those thoughts and you're like, willpower is just not working, I want you to recognize that the more powerful work can be in this trigger urge section. Okay? So if we go back to the trigger urge section, we can start to see what's going on for our brain. So if I'm triggered at work, maybe I have some unmet expectations. Maybe it's just been really busy and it feels a little overwhelming. Maybe I've been pulled in a lot of directions. So maybe it's been a busy day at the hospital and school is called and someone's asking me what's for dinner and the dog ate something he shouldn't have and needs to go to the vet and we're supposed to have a party on this 2 days later, right? Maybe there's just a lot happening. This just happened with one of my clients last week. She's got the kids on the plane and the kids are acting up on the plane and it's very, very stressful, right? And we're having lots of feelings about I'm not a good parent. My kids are jerks. I'm supposed to love them, but I really don't right now, right? So there's a lot of feelings there. And then those feelings are our trigger. And then we're have an urge to eat or drink or something to kind of make it go away. These medicines, these GLP-1s can help make that urge not as strong, not as demanding, but we still have to know that's what's happening, right? Awareness here is over half of what we need to do. If we are aware that this is what is happening, it can give us a little bit of that space to try and figure it out. So, willpower is not all it's cracked up to be. The other problem I find with willpower is this. If I'm thinking I'm supposed to be strong and have enough willpower and muscle through, and then I don't, right? So then I have a trigger, a very strong urge, and I've given into it. Then there's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of shame. And then I start to do things like tough love myself the next day, right? Just be tough, just be stronger, just get it done. And if we work out our models, right, we have thoughts, then we have feelings, then we have actions. If I'm saying terrible things to myself about how weak I am, I'm not going to have good feelings and my actions are not going to be positive in a way that's going to get me to my goal. It's going to reinforce whatever those actions are just going to reinforce my initial thought. So if I'm thinking I'm too weak to do this, I'm not strong enough, those are what the actions are going to prove. Okay, that is how the model works. When I have a thought, it generates feelings that produce actions. The actions always give evidence to the initial thought. So if my initial thought is, I'm weak, not strong enough, you're the worst, right? My little one always said, you're the worst, right? You're the worst, right? And you're not getting it done. No good actions are coming from that. That is not where our healthy eating, that's not where our like breaking this urge reward loop is going to happen. So awareness here is very, very important. If I start having those thoughts, I need to just take a step back, say, okay, I'm having some triggers. I'm having some things that are happening and it is triggering some urges. Right? It's triggering some food chatter, right? I'm having a lot of food urges. I'm having a lot of food chatter. What is going on for me? What's happening at step one? And how can I parcel that out and piece that out and start to make some changes in my mindset so that the urge does not feel so demanding? Okay, this can absolutely be done without these medications. These medications just give you a little more space a little quicker. Okay, but the work still has to be done. This does not happen without mindfulness, without intention, and without some work, right? We might have to journal. I know everyone hates that, right? We might have to journal. We might need to talk to a coach. We might need to look for some online resources. I've got tons for you. If we don't do the work, nothing's going to change. Okay? Our hunger is going to come back on these medicines. We're still going to have the same triggers. We're still going to have the same urges. And they're going to start to feel stronger. Okay? They're not going to be dampened forever. And so the best thing we can do for ourselves on these medications is to start to do the work. So that is willpower, finite resource, not helpful, and not the key to sustainable weight loss. Will it help for a day or two? 100%, no problem. It's not going to work forever. Urge reward loop, usually started by a trigger. So we have a trigger, we have an urge, we have a reward. The faster we complete that loop, the harder it is to change it. So finding space on either end. So we find space between the trigger and the urge. What's going on for me? Why am I triggered? How can I change my mindset? What different thoughts do I need to have? Is it unmet expectations? Is it something that I need to journal on? That's all the work there. The urge reward, really that's recognition. Like what if I have an urge that is for comfort, right? If I go back and I'm like, oh, I'm triggered, I'm just feeling stressed, I need a rest, I need a comfort, my kids were awful, I just need a minute to myself. What reward can we give ourselves that will satisfy what we're really looking for? Because it's really not the food or the alcohol. We're usually looking for comfort or stress relief or silence or just rest. Okay, so what reward can I give myself that gives me what I'm actually looking for? So that's the work there. That's the work on the front end. I hope this has been helpful. Please follow me for more tips on Instagram. I'm trying to do a lot of GLP-1 tips for you so that if you are on these medications, you can really maximize your results. Like, let's take that opportunity for what it is. If you're not on these medications, it doesn't matter. We still need to do this work. This is the key to sustainable weight loss. So if you are feeling like you're eating against your own will or your willpower is not working, please start to look at this loop. Where am I being triggered? What can I do about that? What's the urge really asking for? What do I really need? And how can I satisfy that without food? All right, if this has been helpful, please rate and review the podcast or send it to a friend. Talk later. Bye.